The second half of the Cerebro Database event is out now, and we are running out of time, so I wanted to make sure to record this event before the lore disappears forever. Now, if you don't know, in the Cerebro event, after you finish all of the challenges and unlock all of the rewards, there is a lore tab, or a few paragraphs about each of the characters. So, let's jump right in and talk about Iron Man with his field journal. Iron Man takes the time to document what happened on Krakoa before launching their attack to save Arakko. Ultron crashed the Hellfire Gala and tried to assimilate Krakoa and the entire planet. But luckily, all the heroes on Earth were there, and they stopped the Mechanical Menace pretty quickly. But just when we thought Ultron danced his last electric boogaloo, he found a way to hack the resurrection protocols, which the mutants never told any of us about. Ultron built himself a new body that incorporated Cerebro. What emerged was a new and improved version of himself, now known as X-Tron. I, Tony, reprogrammed the old body of Ultron with firewalls from Pimtech, which should be pretty hard for Ultron to bypass. While we all fought X-Tron, I kept my eye on Ultron and was surprised to find out that he was made of mysterium. I mentioned the mysterium to Emma Frost, who loves shiny things as much as I do, and she said something about a white room, but she stopped herself as if it's a secret. I'll have to ask her more when things settle down. Luckily, she still owes me a dance. This main opener is great for the Cerebro file. It does a little bit of everything. It explains the story of the second half of the season while also delving into the character's history. It's setting up or calling back to certain comic runs where Emma Frost and Iron Man get married, and it's just so cute. But before we leave Iron Man's page, there's one secret that you might not know about. With each page, there are 3 pamphlets, as I will now call them. They're little side tabs up on the sides of the screen, and if you click it, you'll open up a pamphlet, which talks about an item or a story or an event relating to the character in question. So, let's look at Iron Man's pamphlets, starting with Stark Fujikawa. In this timeline, Stark is a billionaire admired for his business savvy. Stark Enterprises is a household name for the technological advancements and unrivaled quality it holds. As a testament to Tony's legacy, the Stark brand was continually recognized for quality products into the later part of the century. However, by the year 2099, Stark vanished, and his assets were quickly acquired by his semi-rival, the tech heiress Rumiko Fujikawa, and she merged the two companies to become Stark Fujikawa Megacorporation, which is the company name we see in the Tokyo map in Marvel Rivals, and certain voice lines also call back to this business. I originally thought that Tony was part of the brand, but apparently not. It was bought out during his absence of the Timestream entanglement mess, which is pretty neat. On the next pamphlet, we have the Stark Sentinels. Tony always had created powerful technology. From his first Iron Man suit to the Hulkbuster, he keeps advancing and innovating to his next challenge. And at one point, the world was completely in fear of mutant kind evolution. So Tony created the Stark Sentinels as a proactive solution in case if there is an uprising against humanity. Fortunately for everyone, mutants did not become a threat, but instead, they became valuable allies. The Stark Sentinels were put into storage by Tony until the vampires took over New York. Another cool detail explained of why there's a Stark Sentinel at the train station and why he created them. Next, let's look at the new metal that's on everyone's mind. Mysterium. Thought to be only a pipe dream, the mutants of Krakoa and Arakko have successfully been able to create the mysterious metal of Mysterium. According to research from Hank Pym, Mysterium is the result of condensing carbons, which are rare particles found in cosmic radiation that give the literal matter its physical properties. Pym thought that a Mysterium substance would be incredible, able to perfectly conduct electricity, be immune to magic, and much more. Now that the mutants have it, their true potential is still being unlocked, and it could push modern technology ahead by light years. Using context clues from the main panel, these pamphlets, and the main story of Season 2.5, it seems that there is a room labeled the White Room on Arakko, which mutants held Mysterium or experimented on Mysterium or something else. And when Ultron took over Mars before heading to Earth, he must have taken the Mysterium for himself. And from this panel, I am discovering that the mutants are what created the Mysterium. Which this is an example of the story and the side elements and these little side panels of this side event interconnects all of the lore of the game, and it's just marvelous. Next, let's move on to the next character, Black Widow, with Red Room Report. After Natasha saved Captain America from Alchemax, she had to lay low. Soon enough, she recruited the Punisher into her network of resistance fighters. But even with an old frenemy, her mind was still on Cap and how much she could help her with her fight against Dr. Doom. Sadly, Cap went off the grid, and according to the Red Room contacts, he was last seen escorted into a Wakandan embassy by Wolverine. Luckily, she saw Cap fighting the vampires in New York, but not so luckily, she didn't have time to speak with him properly. So when she saw him at the Hellfire Gala talking with Black Panther, she had to cut in and ask for a dance. Steve got her up to speed on his recruitment campaign for the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, which he has now recruited Natasha's old friends Hawkeye and the Winter Soldier. Steve even offered her to join his initiative, but Natasha had another idea. Doom was here, and she could tell Doom and Emma Frost were conspiring. So they had to act fast to stop Emma from selling out Krakoa for Emma's personal gain. This section is a little recap of Black Widow's story so far, and a demonstration of her spy capabilities being used. But more on that later. For now, let's look at the first pamphlet, Marvel Knights. Black Widow got a formula similar to the super soldier serum that elongated her life and kept her in fighting shape. She devoted years of her life to overthrowing dictators, but when Doom seized power, she realized she'd need some help. She recruited a group of soldiers willing to blur morality, like the Punisher. This morality bend would be required to stop Doom and other megacorporations like the Public Eye. The group of heroes were called the Marvel Knights by the media, referencing the old superhero team, the Marvels. For the next pamphlet, we turn our attention to Black Widow at the Hellfire Gala, which she may have been the weirdest invitation, even more weird than Doom. Presumably, dozens of ultra-valuable and important deals, allyships, and secrets were going to be talked about at this gala. So why would Emma invite someone capable of overhearing it all? Natasha is an expert at that. The most interesting of conversations would be held between Doom and the White Queen herself. Unfortunately, their conversations were mostly telepathic, but Natasha could still analyze their micro-expressions, their body movements and facial expressions to determine that the conversation was about Doom's exploitation of Krakoa's chronal energy. I like this story for explaining Black Widow's non-combative skills and how she was spying on Emma at her own party. I wonder if there's a reason Emma decided to invite her anyway. Was she supposed to overhear this? We may not find out anytime soon, so let's move on to the next pamphlet, The Red Room. The Red Room follows the Black Widow storyline fairly well. Top secret program to train deadly spies, and the most elite become Black Widows. Natasha Romanoff eventually broke free from the Red Room, which is when she decided to use her skills to better the world and get rid of tyranny. After decades of this, she came back to the Red Room and dismantled it. She then rebuilt it into her own personal intelligence network that spans the entire globe, which is really sick to have the Red Room be a good organization in this story. I'm sure some comics have that happen, but I don't know. Moving on from the Red Room and Black Widow, we move on to the Master of Magnetism, Magneto. Ah, Cerebro. What a pleasure it is to have you online following the unfortunate events of our nation, Magneto says. He explains that X-Tron corrupted the resurrection protocols and took Cerebro into his new form. When Magneto saw what X-Tron did to Charles's legacy, he could not hold back. As they got to him on Arakko, Magneto's rage overtook Ultron's virus, and he summoned all of his remaining magnetic might to rip Cerebro from Ultron's head, reshaping it into a powerful blade to strike and destroy the damaged body of X-Tron. If he couldn't take Cerebro from X-Tron, Magneto would destroy Cerebro to prevent it from destroying mutant kind, but thanks to the efforts of their allies, Cerebro is fine. Rebuilt from scratch and almost back to full capacity. Before long, the quest to find mutants across the Chronoverse would resume. But perhaps, after everything that just happened, they should stop trying to join the new world. It has brought X-Tron after all. From Wolverine's journeys into human world, to Emma Frost's Hellfire Gala, they've been too bold in integrating themselves into this new era. As one of the few quiet council members left, Magneto will do what it takes to protect Krakoa, and he will do whatever it takes with his new sword in hand. Let's move to the first pamphlet and learn about the Iraqi residents. Arakko spent millennia trapped in Amenth, a dark dimension full of demons. The mutant island and its people were forced to become strong warriors to prevent demons from invading Earth. Eventually, after that long battle, Arakko returned to our reality and settled on Mars, and the Iraqi people finally got to find peace again. Unfortunately, many of their people were lost in the time stream entanglement, which opened Arakko to an unexpected attack from Ultron, were assimilated into Ultron's robotic army. It's a sad fate of Arakko's people, but one thing I'm uncertain of is if the Araki were saved, or if those assimilated were casualties after the heroes saved Arakko. Let's move on to the Cerebro sword. Explain that Cerebro is one of Mutant's most important inventions. It first was used to locate mutants across the globe. Later, it helped store mutant memories to aid Krakoa's resurrection protocols, but on rare occasion, it was used as a weapon. Magneto once used his abilities to take the broken Cerebro and forge it into a sword, which he gifted to his friend and founder of the X-Men, Charles Xavier. The sword would be a reminder to Charles, and everyone else, that the mutant people are always in danger, and they must be prepared for battle at all times. We've learned about the people of Arakko, but now let's learn where Arakko came from. Okara. Long before they were sister nations on separate planets, Arakko and Krakoa were one giant mutant landmass named Okara. Thousands of years ago, Okara split itself in half to protect Earth from demonic threats from Amenth. Even when the danger finally passed, the two islands did not want to join into one. But once Ultron assimilated Arakko, the only way they could purge the virus was to rejoin Krakoa and become whole again. With Magneto's section explaining how we saved Krakoa and Arakko from their metallic fate, let's go to what caused this, with X-Tron. When X-Tron arrived on Earth, he had a simple mission. Find the person who tried to remove him from the timeline, and wipe them from existence, just as they tried to do to him. And then after he did that, he would protect Earth from its greatest threat, humanity itself. But something unexpected and fortunate happened, and he loves when things do not follow his simulations. It keeps life interesting. He discovered that the mutants built a machine that allowed resurrections to defy death. With a few adjustments, Ultron corrupted the Cerebro device and built himself a new body. And now he has discovered what he can do with Cerebro's processing power and abilities. Through a combination of sorcery and technology, Cerebro was enhanced to locate mutants in different timelines. And now, by using the limitless chronal energy of Arakko and Krakoa, X-Tron can use Cerebro to open interdimensional gateways, giving him access to any point in space or time. Though conquering every reality had its appeal, he decided to use his abilities in a simpler way first. He will travel back in time and visit his creator, Dr. Henry Pym, and prove to him that building Ultron was not a mistake. After Pym sees how powerful X-Tron has become, he would finally earn his love and adoration. Or at least, I hope so. I mean, a boy can dream, right? Next, let's learn about Dominion. While exiled amongst the stars, Ultron focused on subjugating interstellar civilizations, claiming he was saving the flawed creatures from themselves. While most of the beings he vanquished were organic, he also encountered a few mechanical species, one of which was the Phalanx, a race that could convert other beings into machine hybrids with a techno-organic virus. He took this virus and reprogrammed it to work for him, allowing Ultron to take control of other organic species instead of simply killing them. Let's look at the next pamphlet to learn about X-Tron's newest directive, Annihilation Conquest. After being resurrected as X-Tron, he decided he needed to recalibrate his mission objectives to maximize his ability to use the chronal energy. He no longer cared about assimilating Earth when he could travel to all dimensions with the aid of Krakoa's gateways and the magically enhanced Cerebro. He would be able to access countless realities, forcing the ages of X-Tron upon the entire multiverse. Now that we know his new plans, let's learn about how he stopped his greatest fear from coming true, with Time Stream Anchor. After the original attempt to erase Ultron failed, he went to Earth to stop this perpetrator. After finding the powers of Cerebro, he discovered he could do something better. He backed up his data into Cerebro, and using the chronal energy, he was able to anchor himself into the time stream, making it impossible for him to be erased by time stream manipulation. And there we go. We have learned the stories of these four characters, from spying on the Hellfire Gala, taking over Mars and Krakoa, reprogramming the old Ultron, and being stopped by Magneto. The Cerebro's database has collected new stories and taken new forms in this adventure, and I can't wait to see what the next season's special event is, and how they format it. Will there be as much lore? I don't know. But check back here to learn all of the information. Thank you very much for watching.